everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of What's Driving Token Prices. I'm your host, Katie Talati, Director of Research at Arca. For those joining us for the first time, I'm responsible for identifying and analyzing digital asset and blockchain opportunities for Arca's funds. As part of our research, my team and I examined token prices and the catalysts and the market events that act as catalysts for price change. Based on our research and market events over the past week, here are some notable token price movements and what we think drove those moves. As a reminder, this commentary is not intended to be investment advice, investment research, or an investment recommendation. Please consult your investment professional for your own circumstances. Okay, this week has definitely been another really busy one. I've got some cool tokens to talk to you guys about this week. I guess some probably things worth mentioning since last week. Coinbase was served a Wells notice. We've got some more regulatory stuff, which I'll talk about in here. We've continued to see bank crises develop, and the market has definitely been in the throes of volatility the last few weeks. So we're going to start up actually first up with Arbitrum. So Arbitrum, I don't know if you've heard me talk about it. It's the layer 2 protocol. Their long-awaited token airdrop finally launched last week. About 11.6 of the supply ended up going to users, and about 1.1% of the supply went to Arbitrum project DAOs. So that was basically projects that are built on Arbitrum and using their ecosystem. So Treasure DAO and GMX, for example, saw the largest airdrop allocations. They got about 8 million tokens each. So the tokens were given to these projects to distribute at their own discretion, which has continued to keep activity on Arbitrum projects pretty high following the airdrop. Just for context, TVL has actually gone up to 2.2 billion on Arbitrum, increasing from 1.5 billion over the last 2 weeks. When the Arbitrum token listed, however, as is the case with most new issues, it was listed at a really high price and immediately got knocked back down. So it was listed and shot up to about $8, and then it traded down to where it is right now in about, I think, $1.20, $1.12. So technically, the Arbitrum token is down 90% for the week. Okay, next up, Binance. So if you guys have not missed it, the CFTC announced 2 days ago that it's suing centralized exchange Binance for willful evasion of U.S. laws and offering unregistered derivative products to customers. The announcement brought down not just the price of Binance's token, BNB, but also the price of Bitcoin and other crypto assets. Binance has since refuted the claims and ascertains that they have been fully cooperative and compliant with regulators. This will likely be a long legal battle that will draw out over many months. So like I said, if you've been kind of following this, it actually ended up bringing down a lot of the market in terms of price action. We saw like Bitcoin go down like 3-6% on this. Binance is actually only down 1% for the week. But it's definitely got some, far-reaching results. Binance is still doing about 80-90% of the total exchange volume, even compared to Coinbase, who might, be dominant kind of in like the headlines on the news. They're still not doing most of the crypto trading volume. And they don't offer a lot of different products. So Binance is very important to the ecosystem. It's definitely going to be problematic if something happens to them. But it sounds like this is not something that's going to get resolved overnight. All right, next up we have SUSHI. So decentralized exchange SushiSwap announced that they received a subpoena from the SEC last week. So the team posted a proposal actually announcing the subpoena and their plans to cooperate with it. The proposal actually outlined that the protocol would allocate about $3 million of USDT to a defense fund. No other details regarding the subpoena were released, and the team has said that they will not comment on the ongoing investigation. So, again, the SEC has been kind of going after a lot of different crypto projects. And, for a lot of them, it's pretty expensive to fight. In Sushi's case, they're lucky they have a decent sized treasury that they can, put $3 million towards, although it is like a bit of a stretch. The project recently, changed some of their revenue streams. So it didn't, or some of their tokenomics. So Sushi stakers didn't necessarily receive revenues from the protocol in an effort to kind of make the SushiSwap project much more capitalized. Despite this news, SushiSwap's only down 3.3% for the week. All right, last up, we have ROOK or Keeper DAO. Okay, so KeeperDAO is a decentralized MEV provider. What does that mean? It basically means that um, I think I've talked about MEV at a very high level on here, but MEV stands for minimum extractable value. And basically in Ethereum, the order of transactions that go into a block, or the speed at which a transaction is executed, is oftentimes really important if you're trying to make an arbitrage play or front run someone. So a lot of the time people will pay a lot more to be first in the block or to put their transaction up before others. And that additional fee is known as MEV and can be very lucrative for miners and for people who are putting together these blocks. So KeeperDAO is one of these projects that basically helps apps with, kind of allocating MEV or either collecting it. This week, they've actually faced a huge governance debacle. The protocol has seen shrinking metrics compared to its biggest competitor, Flashbots, and the token price has fallen far below the book value of the treasury over the past several months. Following little transparency from the core team or progress, token holders decided to approach management and propose redistributing value to the community. There are currently two proposals under discussion. One to dissolve the DAO and shutter the project. The other to spin off the DAO with most of the treasury dissolved and a portion set aside for the truck to continue. With most of the treasury dissolved and a portion set aside for the project to continue building. So both proposals have been met with a lot of pushback. Some of the management team have even accused the ROOK token holders of having no governance rights, which really would be a very different, blow to DeFi governance holders. There's been a lot of stuff about one of the founders that passed away having his token stolen. So definitely a lot of drama going on. Despite this, because ROOK was so far below book value, it's actually traded up 91% in the last week, and I think over 100% in the last 30 days, just at the idea that people could really be making about a 250% return on the book value play here. This saga, however, is still unfolding. None of these proposals have been set in stone. No dissolution has been agreed upon. But we will continue to monitor this and keep you guys updated if anything more interesting happens. All right, that's all I got for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed our insights. Tune in here again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific to hear what's driving token prices.